All right, so I didn't want to have to do this, but y'all have forced my hand, and I'm not proud of doing this, but it is what it is. I have been forced into it. My back is against the wall. I'm in a corner, and I have no choice but to do this. I have to make a comprehensive grunge singers ranking list, and it will be the ultimate, the utmost, the alpha and the omega of lists. No more questions about it. No more discussions. This is it. There's nothing else, okay? Do not even comment telling me, why is this person should be somewhere. No. This is it. No questions. Put your hands down. I will be taking zero questions, okay? Because this is the comprehensive grunge singer list. You understand me? Do you understand me? You better, because I swear to God, don't make me come back here. Do not make me come back here and do this again. Why will not be including bands such as, let's see, Stone Temple Pilots, Creed, the Melvins, Bush, just any of them. I'm not going to be including them because, for one, every time I list the Melvins, I got people in the comments saying, "Your Melvins aren't a grunge band. You can't list them." They're on like every major list. You can't tell me they're not a grunge band. Yes, I know they're not really grunge. They're like, it's like comparing Iggy Pop to punk. Yes, Iggy Pop wasn't technically punk, but he was like the forefather, He was one of the founding fathers of punk. All right? So the Melvins get an honorable fedora tip, okay? That's it. That's it. And plus, come on, Buzz Osborne was not that great a singer, if we're being real. He wouldn't even make the top 5 anyway. And I'm just going to do 5 because for real, I mean, most people only know the top 5 grunge bands either. I'm not going to do Mudhoney. We're not going to do Mother Love Bone. I'm not going to be doing Green River, okay? Because I don't want to, all right? I just don't want to. It's too much. It's bullshit. It's fake, and I'm not doing it, okay? And I'm sick of you guys trying to tell me what I have to do, okay? But, all right, so, ranked least to best. And again, don't at me, because this is a definitive list. There are no questions. This is what it is. This is just a fact, okay? At the very bottom of the list, dead last, and I'm only mentioning it because we need a little diversity, okay? Hole. Terrible band. Terrible, terrible band. They are dead last. Courtney Love couldn't sing. She didn't even write her own songs. All her albums are either a Smashing Pumpkins album with female vocals or a Nirvana album with female vocals. She didn't write anything, so no. L. Take the L. Walk. But no. All right, so I'm basically just going to stick with the big 4 because everybody knows the big 4 and everybody wants to do the big 4, okay? So out of Kurt Cobain, Chris Cornell, Eddie Vedder, and Layne Staley. The big 4, okay? Please let me know down in the comments who you think should be number 1 because I can guarantee it's always one of the 4, okay? And lately I've seen a lot of these publications putting Alice in Chains in the top, and Layne Staley was a very unique singer. Love Layne Staley. And don't take anything I want to say about any of these bands as me saying I don't like them or criticizing them. I'm a big fan of all 4 of the big 4, okay? Layne Staley did not have a conventionally pretty voice. It's sort of like a Guns N' Roses on crack, That's basically what Layne Staley's voice was. And he had a lot of really low lows, Nutshell, the live performance, one of the best songs ever. Down in a Hole, also a brilliant song. And his range on that is immaculate. But a lot of their biggest songs, like Man in the Box, I'm the man in the box. Won't you come and save me? See what I'm saying? It's sort of got that Guns N' Roses vibe. The save me. That's a Guns N' Roses vibe. Loved fucking Alice in Chains. I have no complaints there, but his little nasally voice did always kind of irk me the wrong way. But when he wasn't doing that, big fan. So I'm gonna have to put him at number 4. I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but his voice just was not that good. Not conventionally pretty, not even really that iconic because it really did just kind of sound like it was a little bit of a spin-off of Axl Rose's voice, So he has to be a little bit lower on the list, Number 3, okay, Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam. Once again, great band. Songwriting, pretty good. And Eddie Vedder had the vocal range, and the vocal running. He sounded like an opera singer. He had a conventionally beautiful voice. But at the same time, there was nothing unique about it. So a lot of people can replicate it. And a lot of people did replicate it. When you get like Creed and Stone Temple Pilots all sort of copied Eddie Vedder's Jarl thing. When I see the house winds on the weather. It's pleasant, it's nice, but it's not, nothing about it, reaches out and grabs me and says, this is a unique once-in-a-lifetime voice. Because it's not. Great singer, great songs, but it's not a once-in-a-lifetime voice, and it's very easily replicated. So, now here's my problem. I don't know. I'm torn. I kind of have to give the top spot to 2 artists. For 2 different reasons, and now hear me out. Chris Cornell deserves to have the top spot because his voice was immaculate. His range was insane. He could go from low to high. His screams were almost impossible to recreate unless you're like a really good classically trained, not classically trained, but classically trained rock singer or something. You would have to be really talented as a vocalist to hit some of those highs that he would hit. He had a great voice, great range, great songwriter. But we're not really counting this based on songwriting merit, because if that were the case, then I feel like Kurt Cobain would probably get number one. And you can't even give Layne Staley that, because like most of the songs from Alice in Chains were not written by Layne. So if you're just going to do songwriting credit, it would go to Jerry Cantrell anyway. So Alice in Chains still wouldn't be in the running, even if we were basing it off of songwriting and vocals. Chris Cornell wrote most of his songs, as did Kurt Cobain. Personally, I think Cobain was a better songwriter. He had just a beautiful simplicity to it that really hard to replicate. And when people do try to replicate it, saying stuff like Mosquito, Libido, Nirvana, Here Come Don't You Wanna, it's just gibberish a lot of the time. It means nothing. It is nothing. But he made it work. And when other people I hear try to do that, it always sounds corny, like you're really trying really hard to be ironic, coded, and like really deep, but you're not. But see, the combination of Kurt's voice and like the pain you could hear in his voice combined with the coded, like nuanced, hard to understand lyrics would put him at the top if we were doing singer-songwriter, singing and songwriting. If you're just putting Chris Cornell versus Kurt Cobain head to head, just in singing, I almost have to give it to Chris Cornell. And I hate to say it because Nirvana is one of my top favorite bands of all time, but Chris Cornell's range was far superior. The only reason I would be willing to tie Nirvana with Soundgarden and also Audioslave, but okay, Kurt versus Chris, the only reason Kurt gets to be up there and tie for first place, in my opinion, is because Kurt's voice has been irreparable. Not irreparable. Is that the word? No. Kurt's voice has been impossible to imitate. Everybody's tried, from Puddle of Mud to basically every band from like the late 90s, early 2000s, Nickelback, just all of those, post-grunge dad rock bands now. All of them basically were trying to imitate Kurt, but nobody really succeeded in it. And that's why you never really see a Nirvana cover band. You'll see Pearl Jam cover bands. You see a lot of cover bands for bands like that. I've seen Alice in Chains cover bands, and Soundgarden too, Temple of the Dog, all of them. I've never seen a Nirvana cover band because you can't do it justice. And I think the reason you can't do justice to a Nirvana song when you're covering it, unless you completely change it and make it your own, if you're just trying to imitate it, you'll never be able to convey emotion the same way that Kurt Cobain did. So yes, Kurt might not have been a conventionally pretty singer. He might not have been the best singer, but the ability to convey emotion through whatever he was saying, Mosquito, Libido, to make that sound like it's intense and deep is a skill in and of itself. And yes, Chris Cornell's a better singer. If we were just basing it off like America's Got Talent, American Idol shit, Kurt would have been eliminated. He probably wouldn't have even got to be on TV. They would have fucking just told him to leave from the line. And Chris would have probably made it to Hollywood before being kicked out. But the just pure uniqueness and the ability to convey emotion in a way that others can't is why I think Nirvana and Kurt Cobain deserve to be tied for number one with Soundgarden. Okay? And again, this isn't up for discussion. This is a fact. It's in the encyclopedia now. I am writing to the Encyclopedia Britannica and Wikipedia. I have them on speed dial. I'm going to call them right now and let them know that this is the new fact, and anybody who tries to defer will be banned from Wikipedia and will be immediately seized and taken to prison if they try and change it in their encyclopedia. That's a promise. That's a fact, okay? So don't comment, don't like, and certainly do not subscribe, okay?